Jar Oil. The company have filling stations across the country, and our rates are relatively cheaper than anyone else across the country. Jar Oil is the biggest producer and distributor of cement in the country with the most competitive prices in the market.
Excellent jam, Wave.
Yo, apply. Yo, luta do dede. Luta mo nulo jël moto nga andil ma xaalis. Hello?
Bisul mu fine.
What?
Bisul mu fine.
Oh, yes!
Wave Axina Gambia. Deposit and withdraw money, pay bills and buy mobile credit without fees. Transfer money wherever in the country for only 1% fee. At Wave. Bisul mu fine? Wave. Your money is yours.
Joining us now is a key figure at the heart of Gambian politics, Honourable Alhaji S. Darboe, Senior Administrative Secretary of the Opposition United Democratic Party and Minority Leader in the National Assembly. As the UDP navigates a period of transition marked by high-profile resignations, he's here to unpack the moment, explore the party's direction, and hear firsthand, or rather tell us how the UDP plans to move forward. Honourable Darboe, thanks for joining us. Now, you're here only a few hours after landing back in the Gambia from your latest trip, since you are both Administrative Secretary, Senior Executive in the UDP, as well as Minority Leader in the National Assembly. Was this trip connected with your work with UDP or with the National Assembly? First, let me say good morning and welcome to Coffee Time.
Thank you very much, Peter. Good morning to you. I think it has been a while when I last visited the West Coast.
The last time we had any personal connection, we were discussing sports.
Yes.
Here we are today talking politics.
The other time when I last visited here, actually it was also about politics. Precisely, that was the FPAC with your colleague. That was not you precisely. Yeah, my last visit just returned from Abuja, ECOWAS extraordinary session at this place, Port Harcourt in the River States. But before then, when you invited me, unfortunately I could not.
Yeah.
That was the time we went to Seattle, the UDP Diaspora Convention. So the visit before the last one was UDP's, but this one is the ECOWAS Parliament. That's the extraordinary session, the second extraordinary session in the year.
As Senior Administrative Secretary in the UDP and also Minority Leader in the National Assembly, you have a front row seat to the defining moments in our politics. How would you describe the current political climate in the Gambia?
Well, I think as events are unfolding, I will just say the current political climate in the Gambia. I'm not saying I'm a political expert, but I can do some little analysis. Whether you agree with me or not, that's my opinion. We'll have a replica of the 2016 come 2026. So,
meaning the opposition is going to find its way into government?
Whatever it may be, I will say a replica of 2016 is supposed to happen come 2026. As events are unfolding, anyone who is a serious political thinker, I think you can foresee that.
Interesting.
Things are happening, and then maybe people are saying they are not in favor of UDP, or they are in favor of a particular group. But from my little analysis, I can say I am foreseeing a replica of 2016 come 2026.
Are you suggesting there will be a coalition of opposition parties?
Of course.
To try to flush out the current coalition that is in government?
Any year we expect coalitions. They may not be strong coalitions precisely, but every elections, there were coalitions. Until 2016, when we had a much stronger coalition. So this time around, I'm expecting coalitions of political parties.
Okay. Well, there's already a ruling coalition.
Yeah.
The question now is, will there be an opposition coalition?
When I say political parties, I'm not in the other camp. I'm referring to the opposition camp.
Of course.
Of course.
Now, very often we hear that some of you in the National Assembly put party above national interest. So as the minority leader, how do you balance party interests with national priorities?
I think, yes, to be honest, there are issues that have political connotations in the National Assembly. One will not rule that out or dispute that. In as much as they have national interests, but they are political charge as well. In that, to that perspective, you cannot separate the two. You have to look at the political cap as well as the national cap in order to balance the two. So that is the situation. But there are issues whether political interest is there. One judge any decision that you're supposed to take based on your own consent. I think for us, that is very clear in our operations. No matter what our political position is or our party's position is, we judge those kind of issues on our own consent, to be very honest.
Let's take the issue of a new constitution for the Gambia, the 2024 draft, for instance.
Very well.
Yes.
I think for that one, I had been saying when the 2020 was rejected, that nobody should cast blame on the National Assembly for the rejection of the 2020 draft, but the political parties. I did say that the draft was rejected well before it was laid, the National Assembly. We had seen the position of the executive when they received the draft, and that could tell you that it had been rejected by the executive. And you will not expect, if the executive had taken a position negatively on the draft, for members, for their members to act otherwise. Because as the Constitution is nationally charged, yes, equally is highly political charge. On that, the expectation is that if the executive had taken that position, that would have been the position of their sitting members. And so that was the case. And I did say, if we don't want to have a replica of the 2020, there is a need for the political parties to have consensus on whatever the draft would be before it will be laid before the National Assembly. Otherwise, it's going to be the same replica. I said this before Dr. Chambers,
Dr. Ibn Chambers.
Dr. Ibn Chambers, that this is where we need to work on. And we were assured, we were promised that we'll try to endeavor to do that. Unfortunately,
it didn't happen.
After the last engagement, all that we could see or hear, 2020 draft was gazetted without that conclusion among the political forces as their consensus position. So exactly as I predicted, when it is laid that way, obviously there will be political positions because there are political interests around it.
What does it take to reach a consensus? You spoke about the need, before this was gazetted, for the political parties to, reach a consensus. What does it take to reach a consensus?
It was almost done, because there were contentious issues in the 2020. And the key in that is the retroactive clause. I think that was the key one.
The retroactive clause on term limits for the president.
Exactly. So that was almost done. And at the level of the National Assembly, when we had a workshop on this with International IDEA, as well as the eminent personalities who were engaging in this, Ibn Chambers and the team, we had options around that. If those options are looked into, there will be conclusion and consensus on that. I could not know why the political parties or the executive did not continue to further do that consultation to finalize that. To our surprise and dismay, well, they came with almost a complete new draft, when amendments or new ideas are more than what seems to be contentious where they had differences. If differences were 1 or 2 or 3, now it has escalated to so many contentious issues. I think that was the difficulty for the political parties. In fact, after the gazetting, I did not find, I could not see any room where they had that engagement again. If there was any, the political parties. I know International IDEA was reaching out to the key actors, UDP, and then the presidency and other areas, but for political parties, I will not say it did not happen, but I could not recall that serious engagement for them to narrow down the differences so that they can reach consensus.
Mm-hmm. And if you have concerns, right now, what are your top concerns, especially in light of recent political developments, legislative concerns? I mean, you're the minority leader in the National Assembly. People say, both sides of the aisle find it difficult, to see eye to eye, to agree on anything. And when it comes to, matters of national interest, also bordering on politics, it's always contentious.
I mean, it depends on the approaches, because for us, to be honest, I have an open door policy. If the majority treats us well, they invite us on any issue, we are open to them, and then we engage them in those discussions. Unfortunately, if they see it otherwise because they look onto their number, with or without them will prevail. That's that. But
is that often the case?
I can see of recent, that's the case. Before we used to have all what we call all-party caucus on issues, we discuss, and then disagree to agree. But of recent, I'm not seeing that happening. Where they may need, or we may need a simple majority, we don't care them, we have the number. So the number will prevail.
It's like on the issue of, the presidential election deposit being raised to 2 million. One of the headlines was saying that Honourable Musa Cham, you would know him very well, my National Assembly representative, was trying to have the fee reduced, but it went through.
Yeah, that was, as I said, I mean, for issues where we have simple majority to prevail, of course, where the majority sided will always take the vote at the end of the day.
And how do you work with the majority leader, Honourable Bile Tunkara?
Yeah, we are friends. In principle, Sometimes I see him otherwise.
Give us an instance where you saw him otherwise.
That is when they consider to count on their number. We'll notice that this usual, or what we call the all-party caucus that we used to hold and then discuss issues, would not happen. And then when they come to the chamber, you can see on their faces, this time around, we don't mind them. We have the we have the number. So National Assembly is the number that counts. Yeah. Other than that, I think, yeah, he's a fellow that used to consult, and I must say used to.
He doesn't anymore.
For now, he is more comfortable with his number. And that's the unfortunate thing. We always want to be very open-minded, critical on issues. But if you want to take it all the way, that your number counts to take decisions, is very unfortunate. Yeah, it's Parliament. Anywhere Parliament is like that.
It's about numbers.
It's about numbers. In favor of the executive, fine, they don't bother the opposition. But the Gambia, I think prospectively, I would say, we have a National Assembly that is open to all. If we were not trying to prevail more on this political interest, that is what is derailing what we had started way back in in the 5th legislature. I hope with the remaining maybe 2 years, we'll look into that, since what may be considered to be of political charge is more on the Constitution. That is laid to rest for now. Maybe other national issues that may come our way.
Corruption.
Yeah,
People
especially,
all the time.
especially,
People have passed,
especially
an anti-corruption bill, and
when those issues come, we'll not have that political lens, or rather what I may call the national lens, to act judiciously.
Okay.
That's my hope.
So when they know they have the numbers on their side, voting on simple majority, Honourable Bile Tunkara would just walk in and you can tell from his face that, oh no, he will not cozy to the opposition this time. What about when he needs the opposition?
Yeah, he can come down to his knees.
He goes that far?
How he can do that? He can do that. He can come down to his knees, said all the sweet things, sweet words.
Yeah. And is that when you also walk around with your shoulders, up there?
I don't show myself up or try to put my shoulder up, but I look into his faces and eyes to see whether what he is saying, he really means it. Like in the case of the Constitution.
Yes.
Specifically. Yeah, I wouldn't say he came down to his knees. I wouldn't say that. But he was pleading.
And then what did he say?
He was pleading that let's allow the Constitution to pass the second reading, so that at the committee of the whole house, the consideration stage, our concerns would be looked into for possible amendments. Look at this man. This was the man, or these were the people in 2020. Look at that. I did say fine. Yes, that is very rational, provided we have the number to do that. We are a minority. You require a simple majority to do any possible amendment, and you are a minority. How can that be guaranteed on a contentious issue? And I also observed that this was a replica. The tune was a replica of 2020. When we offered the same, but was rejected on the basis that they did not have the number to effect that and will not take the risk to go that far.
So the shoe was now on the other foot.
And now if then you said you do not have the number and you did not trust us and you rejected or acted that way, now you are telling me come this time you are a majority and we are a minority, we don't have the number to do any amendment at that stage. How serious can you be trusted? The issue is all about trust. And from the experience on other legislative matters that used to be before us, we had seen that trust being betrayed. So on an issue so high or serious as this, we feel and we observe that the trust is not there, as it was not there 2020 when we requested. That is it.
So this was why you rejected the constitution? Because
we don't reject.
Oh, you voted against it?
We voted that we cannot go for the second reading that will require the constitution to proceed to another stage with the sole aim of doing any necessary amendment at the committee of the whole house, which would rather be an illusion. And that is a risk that we could not take at that time.
Okay, well, at any rate, the media, commentators, even I understand sections of the community, we're not happy with the UDP. They actually blame the UDP for rejecting. I know you don't like that word, rejecting the constitution. The 2024
I think
it should have been allowed to get to the second reading and even up to the referendum stage. Ultimately, it will be the Gambian people who will decide whether they want the constitution or not.
I think if we sound the opinion of the Gambians, vast majority of Gambians are with the view that we acted rightly.
Oh.
If we are to go by that, vast majority of the Gambians are in support of our decision.
Somebody did a survey and gave you the...
Well, you can read that. After the rejection, what happened in the country? What were the comments? I'm not saying about what the media house is talking about, but what are the comments that the people are talking about in the streets? If it was not their position or they are not in support of that, we will receive a lot of ridicules from the society.
You did receive any?
Well, to be very honest, my consequences specifically, I had not received any such. I will not say nobody was against my position. That will not be possible. There will be people who may be against my position. I would say vast majority of my constituents were in support of my position.